Hey guys, Conceptual Concept 6.9 here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and as you can see, the scenery right now is not great, but we will be changing camera angles in a minute, so stay tuned for that. Today I wanted to go over something that I am really excited to have the opportunity to start getting involved in and start training with. Now we all know force on force is a really valuable tool to training, and really, let's be real, doing it with real firearms isn't probably the best idea with your buddies, because I don't really want to smoke my buddies. I'm sure you don't want to smoke yours. So what we're going to be getting into in the future of this channel, here and there, we'll do videos occasionally on it, is Airsoft. Evike was nice enough to send me a Airsoft gun. So this is a Rifle Dynamics RD701 Airsoft gun. And what's really cool is that this guy mirrors one of the guns I've set up. So we'll be using this in future videos. We'll do some Airsoft events. We'll do some force on force, get overall thoughts. But today I just kind of wanted to introduce you to this, kind of show you where Airsoft really fits in my mind in terms of training. And we'll see how that progresses as I actually start to use this, as I start to do events, my thoughts on it overall. It was very nice of Evike to send this to me. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm excited to try this out. So, as you heard from Blue Jean Operator,
Airsoft guns are I always say this, are kind of like the least shitty thing that we have at our disposal to shoot at each other with and not actually kill each other.
What's really exciting about this is there's a lot of force-on-force training that you can do with this. You can do Airsoft events. There are certain training centers that do like CQB force-on-force training with Airsoft guns as well, because, again, you don't want to shoot your buddies with real guns. So I think that's really where Airsoft shines, is team movement and force-on-force. Now, a lot of things you will be a little short on with this is actual recoil control, reloads, manual of arms. So get your manual of arms, all that stuff down with your real gun. Focus on your fundamentals. But this is an excellent training tool to start working on some of those other skills that you really can't get at the flat range. All right, so let's get into Evike. Super cool they sent this to me. I'll have a link down to their website down below. But they are one of the larger retailers globally for Airsoft. One really cool thing that they're really focusing on is their EMG line, which stands for Evike Manufacturing Group. What's really cool about that is they work really hard to get licenses for actual firearms. So you can build out your Airsoft gun to be very close to like your Daniel Defense M4A1. They make one of those. This is a Rifle Dynamics clone. As I said before, it is very close to an AK100 series that's been built out with RS Regulate stuff and a rail dust cover. So what's really cool about these is while your reps aren't exactly the same, the gun will feel very much like your normal firearm, which means that a lot of your movement and all that stuff translates over to your real gun. So very exciting about that. I think Evike is probably one of the better areas to look in terms of cloning your real gun, using Airsoft for force-on-force training for real defensive use. So yeah, go ahead and check them out. Super huge thank you for them sending me this. It's allowing me to get into more of the force-on-force roles. We've got a couple shoot houses that do stuff like that in the area. We also have Airsoft events, so I'm planning to attend at least a few of both, maybe one or two of both this year. I have a pretty busy schedule, but I'll try and make it to at least a couple, do some videos on that and my overall thoughts. So let's go over the basic gist of this Airsoft gun and how it looks, how it feels compared to a regular one. So this guy has a triangle folder stock, and it operates very much the same as the 100 series. It's got this little claw that holds it in place. It folds out, it folds back, it locks in both positions, like a 100 series as well. and it's fairly rigid. So it reminds me very much of the wire stocks. One nice thing they added compared to the wire stocks I've experienced with is they did add this little texture on the back. I don't know if you can see that, but usually I end up adding a little bit of skateboard tape or something similar to the back of my stocks just to give it a little more rigidity, which this already has, which is really nice. Now, the safety selector reminds me a lot of a Chinese or Yugo safety selector. It doesn't have quite as big of a ledge as a lot of guns, but still very usable. I actually have one on my Alpha AK right now, which is a very similar profile. So you get those reps in as well. But what's cool is you've got a fun switch. So because this is an airsoft gun, you can shoot this full auto. Fuck you, NFA. But very cool, very usable. It gives you the exact same feeling. It feels very similar to manipulating an AK. The magazines look like this because it just feeds those little BBs in there. They do rock and lock in. I do notice that the actual motion for them, because AKs, the locking tab is a little further down. The motion for reloading them is slightly different. Not incredibly different, but enough for me to notice. So I don't know if I'd be doing this for reload training. I think dry fire is really where you should prioritize for your reloads anyways, but very cool. And does have a similar dust cover to the PSA, if I remember right. Looks very similar, but you'll be able to mount optics on this just fine. It comes with a Ultimac rail, well, Ultimac style rail, and an RS Regulate style handguard, which I really like. You'll see in a second, I kitted a gun out to look and feel very similar to this. It does, even for Rifle Dynamics, it does have a very close copy of their front sight, which is really cool. The Rifle Dynamics front sight isn't rounded at the top either, so it very much feels like a Rifle Dynamics build. It is just slightly lighter than an AK, so you'll notice that when you're shooting it. But again, for me, in terms of movements, I think, or in terms of training, I think this is more to do with movements and shooting back and forth with other people, force-on-force training. And that's really where this shines. And so I wouldn't really count on these to be weapons manipulations guns, but movement, squad tactics, CQB, all that training can transfer shooting this versus a real gun. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and shoot a few rounds, just see how it does. So we're at about 30 yards here. There's definitely a little drop, but it's just kind of what it is with these guys. So as you can see, I'm still able to hit. That's a C-zone target down there. I don't know if you can hear those rings because it doesn't have a lot of energy out. I mean, it's an airsoft gun. It doesn't really have a lot of energy in general, but let's go ahead and hit the fun switch. Yeah, so definitely cool. I'm excited to be using this in training. All right, so I also wanted to go over one of the other more exciting parts is you can use your standard kit. So this is my Haley Strategic Heavy Rig. I use this a lot with my AKs. One of my favorite chest rigs by far. But as you can see, it fits the AK magazines just fine. And then it can also fit, this is an Airsoft, it'll fit the Airsoft gun magazines as well. So very cool, very exciting. Very easy to handle. Another nice thing is these little speed loaders. Pistol magazine right there. Little speed loaders fit in just fine as well. So how I'm planning to carry extra rounds, I have 5 magazines total for my Airsoft gun. How I'm planning to carry during the events I'm going to go to, I'm going to carry the 4 magazines, and then I'm going to carry either 1 or 2 of these little speed loaders as well. So I would love to hear from some of the airsofters who might be watching this video, how you like to set up your kit, but I'm setting it up in the exact same way I would set up my standard kit with my actual rifle. So Moving on, the belt as well. Definitely not going to be carrying a real pistol there, but this is my real belt kit, and the Airsoft magazines fit in these as well. So what's really cool about Airsoft, and something I'm excited for, is you get reps in with your real equipment, but when you're shooting back at your buddies, you're not really having to worry about hurting them, because that would be suboptimal, right? So last thing I wanted to touch on is how you can set these up incredibly similarly, especially if you own like a M4A1 or something under their license that they make a clone of. So I wanted to show you, this is the Airsoft gun I've been showing. I have put a Romeo 5T on here. I had a spare one in a drawer, so I went ahead and threw that on here just for, because I'll need a red dot. Now this guy does have a rail dust cover. It's got an Ultimax style rail, and it's got a RS Regulate style handguard. It's also one of the 100 series folder, so it's got the 100 series length of pull. So to mirror that, this is one of my main guns. This is my Kalashnikov USA KP104. This guy is set up again with a rail dust cover, a Ultimax rail, and an RS Regulate handguard. So another nice thing is it also has the same length of pull. So it feels very similar. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this guy is a little heavier. It is a real gun. So part of that is just the mechanics on the inside. This guy actually has a piston under this railed gas tube, all that good stuff. But it is heavier than this Airsoft gun. But for all intents and purposes, it gets you the motions down. It gets you all the manipulations down to be borderline identical. So for training reps, I'm excited to have this. So look forward to more Airsoft videos in the future. I think Force and Force is definitely an ignored thing on the tactical market. A lot of us only hit the flat range, and I think that is not doing yourself enough service, because real enemies shoot back. Real enemies aren't cardboard targets downrange in a flat environment. So special thanks to Evike for sending me this Airsoft gun. I'm very excited to get out and start doing some training with it. Force on Force is something that is very neglected in the tactical community. And I'm gonna be honest, even anything outside of the flat range is very ignored. So last year we did some shooting in the mountains with unknown targets, and it was very eye-opening how the flat range deceives you. It gives you a false sense of confidence. And I think airsofting is gonna be very similar, because I feel like I'm a moderate shooter. I'm not the best, I'm not terrible either. So we'll see how all those skills translate to actually shooting and getting shot back at by other people trying to win the Airsoft match. Now, I understand that people will be a little more aggressive than in real life. There are other things that are not consistent with real two-way ranges, but this does give you reps on how to move, how to maneuver, how to shoot. Gives you ideas on what the opposing party might be doing. It's not just a cardboard target downrange. So I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be eye-opening, much like shooting it in the woods at unknown targets. A lot of us thought, oh, this is going to be a breeze, and it ended up we would have been dead 1,000 times over. I'm wondering if Airsoft is going to be the same. I'm really excited to get these reps in, and I hope you look into it as well. So stay tuned for more airsofting videos, and this has been Conceptual Concept 6.9, reminding you to go outside and touch grass and eat ass. All right, guys?